I'm Pastor Gil Monrose, and today I am the face of America. Firearms, gun violence is what I call the new epidemic in America. The ability to own a handgun legally or illegally is a fascination. There's more guns that we have in America than we have people. In inner cities and where I do most of my work, we find that guns are used for protection, guns are used to protect turf, guns are used to solve arguments, guns are used in domestic violence situations, guns are used for fun, and so there is just a high level of gun use in America, and the ranges are so vast and so wide as to why people use guns. I am Pastor Gil Monrose. I am the pastor of the historic Mount Zion Church of God Seventh-day in East Flatbush, Brooklyn. I am the husband of Dan Monrose, the father of Jan and Joshua Monrose, and I'm the founder and president of the 67th Precinct Clergy Council called the GODSQUAD. I was raised in the Virgin Islands. I was born in St. Croix, and I was raised on the island of St. Thomas. And so I am a Virgin Islander product and proud to be from the Virgin Islands. And grew up in a home with Christian values, father and mother, immigrants from the island of St. Lucia, West Indies. And so we grew up with learning the value of hard work, dedication, and working for everything that we own, and making sure that there is no need for handouts from the government for anyone else. We have to work from the ground up to get what we have. Opportunities was limited in the Virgin Islands, so I decided to come to New York City and continue on with my education, and also to found a young lady that I love to pieces and married to that individual. So that's why I came to the United States of America. If you have a young person who grew up hunting wild animals and shooting, there's a different level of respect for guns. Guns in urban cities, in urban America, is used to kill and maim one another. That's the difference. And so I think that we should treat guns differently, even though I think that the gun law should be universal. However, I do think that guns in urban cities should be treated differently because of the culture within these two areas. Public safety is a shared responsibility. And we as the clergy members in the GODSQUAD, we take public safety seriously. We take the issue of gun violence seriously. Therefore, our response is serious to the problem of gun violence. And so we work directly in coalition with the NYPD to make sure that their strategies match up with the needs of our community. We know for sure that you can't police your way out of the gun violence. We can't arrest our way out of the gun violence. We know that it takes a community effort to reduce gun violence. And so across the city, across the country, and in New York City in particular, we know for sure that as public safety is a shared responsibility, we have to make sure that the faith community has their role and their responsibility, that the gun violence interrupters have their role and responsibility, that law enforcement as well have their role and their responsibility. But we must do it in sequence, we must do it in order, we must collaborate, and we must be able to share from one another. And so I think that the work that we do with the NYPD is paramount and important to reducing the violence that we see in our communities. So stop and frisk was a pass in our city that I think, for the most part, was not necessary. And I can't understand, I guess, why they would want to do it, trying to find a way to reduce the violence. But we know for sure that black and brown individuals, young black men especially, was stop and frisk for no reason, just for being black. That is unconstitutional, and that is not American values. I am happy that it's gone. We see now that the city is safer without stop and frisk than when we had stop and frisk. Why? Because we put our resources into the right thing. We put our resources into social services. We put our resources into basketball clinics. We put our resources in after-school programs. We look at the zip codes where we have a high level of crime and violence. And we fund nonprofit organizations to do the work to help with young people, to deal with those individuals who are high risk to be shot or high risk to be shooters. And once you put the resources in those areas, we see that the NYPD has changed their model, changed their philosophy to community policing, because they understand that they cannot do anything without the help of the community. My son also dabbles in Fortnite, Call to Duty, and those, games like that. And one of the things that I try to help him to understand that there's a difference between a game and reality. We have to keep that line open. We have to keep that bridge, well, not that bridge at all, sorry. We have to build a wall, quote unquote, between reality and gaming. And so what you find that even in California, some state that there was big men who plays these games who had a dispute, and they actually kill individuals within the tournament of these type of games. So there needs to be a difference between teaching our young people about what's game and what's reality. As long as you cross those two paths, that you can't tell the difference between the game and the reality, we're going to continue to have problems and issues with that game.